Hello world! WayofTime here, bringing to you another episode of EEPower. So there's a few things I noticed with my current setup. Let's just get up a bit. Let's first check the cause, or rather the issue, then we'll look at the cause. One of the issues right now is that, but that's another thing entirely. Let's get that and put you here. Yeah, there we go, that's solved. So you may notice that this is out of power. That is perfectly alright, and it's, well, kind of obvious why. This one, it's kind of gaining power. Now, you'd expect if this was to give all of the power, or as much as possible through this, it would be working quite continuously and constantly. That is obviously not the case. So, let's look over here. You'd think that this matter fabricator would just eat up all of the EU over there and there would be none in storage. But we forgot one fact, and the fact is this part. Transformers, robots in disguise. Anyways, these transformers can only handle so much EU per tick. Not per packet, but per tick. This one, the top one, can handle 512 EU per tick and will output 4 packets of 128 EU per tick. And this one, though, can only handle 128 EU per tick. And it, in turn, outputs 4 packets. So the problem is, this one can handle more than this one. However, this one cannot handle as much as these output. Therefore, the really only solution to, well, solve it so that all the energy goes is to have yet another energy line to go out this direction to handle this part, which kind of sucks. And these are completely different energy lines, which means either more lines or more transformers. I'm probably at the point where I can do more more power lines than transformers, but it means that I'm gonna have to pretty much have like kind of like plugs from the top, which I suppose it's alright, but it becomes a bit of a hassle. I may rework that later, but honestly, at this point in time, I don't really see much of a need. We are producing quite a bit of UU matter, though. I think we have 5 right now. Yes, we do. And once we get, like, say, a stack, we'll be able to work on more iridium enriched enterprises. So what I'm actually thinking of doing right now, though, is not going with iridium, but let's go with a gravity gun. This gravity gun will be able to move blocks at will. So let's make that. Do we have one of them? Yes, we do. Let's put our nice little lovely minium stone at our, well, disposal. So one of the issues we're currently having is that rubber is an annoying quantity. What we could do is do a bunch of bee breeding. However, getting a gravity gun to move all of those into one area would be good. So let's first get the gravity gun, then see what we can do. So we're going to need 4 glowstone, first of all. And next up, we're going to need iron, which I think is just 2. There we go. Then we're going to want our diamond. Thank you. And it seems we're running low on that. And 2 of these, which I think is perfectly acceptable. So where are we going to craft it? I think, well, first of all, we're going to have to compress all this. Compressor's right here, right? Yes. Okay, compress all of this into our glowstone block. It's going to be back into the system. And then we'll craft it in here, getting the transformer materials out of the way. So glowstone block first of all. And now that I think of it, do I still have that silk touch pick? If I have the silk touch pick, then I can harvest glowstone using the silk touch and just macerate it for the glowstone dust. That might be a better way to do things, but we'll get to that later. I think we only needed one of those and one of those. However, we need one more part. Let's see, get that and get that. We are going to need to make some ender pearls, and I think making all the ender pearls right now, 16, we'll use some later. There we go, and let's get that out of the way. Throw these ender pearls first around here, but around here as well, and We seem to be at a little crossroad with all of our stuff. There we go, gravity gun. Check. Haha, not as good as my supercharged one, but I'm not going to look for either a nether star or a lightning bolt. So really, what are we supposed to do with this? Really, you have to be a little imaginative. So let's first check this. And where is it? Ah, yes, here is our rubber. Now, obviously, we can just run around and get all of our rubber naturally, or we can just pick up the blocks. Yep, wrong block. Pick up the block, move it somewhere. Say, let's for now move it over here. Plop it down. And have the resin hole for later. We can do this for the other blocks. So like this. There, we still have resin there. Do this for this one. Hiya. And finally, the last one over here. I think it's this one at least. Ha! Thank you. Have a nice day. Okay, and plop here. Okay, so we have 4 resin holes at a very convenient area. So we can just do this, get the resin as we need it, and best of all, we can do it on multiple sides. So if we were to get this one as well, let's grab you, thanks. We can plop this down, say, let's make the house this big, and then we'll be able to get this resin hole. And if we build the house in a big enough footprint, we can just go gather all the resin, throw it into the system, have as little manual effort as possible. And we can thus build more trees, get all the leaves, and then have a bit more fun time at it. Okay, so I'm going to knock down those trees, get rid of the excess wood, then see what we can do from there. We probably have enough rubber now. I think 29 sticky resin is going to be sufficient for everything that we're going to be doing. So let's put this copper ore here and throw this into here. And then that'll be good. Now the reason why I took the copper... Why do I have a redstone energy cell here? Probably for some reason. Anyways. So the reason I took the copper ore out is because I'm going to go and try to get as much of the actual ore as possible. So if you see, we got 6 copper ore, but we only have 101 copper ingots. Now what I'm thinking is that we'll try to make some ores specifically better in how they are made. So for instance, let's look at how we can refine copper ore. If we just right click it, we'll be able to see multiple refining that we can do, but industrial grinder is one of the main things. If we use sodium persulfate compared to say mercury, we'll be able to get 1 extra copper from this, so that'll be a 3 times process. Now what we could do, and probably is the easiest way to do things, is by using some factorization power, use some of that, though there is some nether copper ore. Now that I think of it, maybe quarrying the nether may be the best way. So if we look at our nether copper ore, what it actually does, we can smelt it to copper ore, or we can just directly pulverize it to get the copper ore out of it, which is, or we could use a macerator. It's either 3 or 4, depending on which one you believe. And probably the best way to refine it is by using an industrial grinder, and by that time the extra copper you get from it, not really that useful. But the sodium persulfate requires some chemical reactors requiring compressed air cells, and some of this, and we get sodium quite easily, and I think something just died there. Anyways, this isn't what we're doing. This is not what we're doing. What we're doing is killing squirrels for fun. And other than that, get away. Okay, let's see. Our steel production seems like it is done. Let's see. That's probably enough. 3 stacks may be enough for what we're going to want to do. What I actually want to do is make some boilers. So let's check some of the boiler stuff that we will need. Obviously, the sludge boiler is not going to be needed. High pressure boiler. This is going to be for all of our production of Minecraft jewels. We're going to need some steel plates, which honestly is one of the easiest parts, but we'll need to make another rolling machine. Do we have any extra pistons in this? Yes, we do. So we don't need to worry about crafting those. So what I'm thinking we're going to go for is just make some extra work tables. So an entire stack of these crafting tables. I know it's a little wasteful, but oh well. And we'll go and make a few rolling machines, which require pistons, not pisos. Pisos are an entirely different thing. If anyone happens to know what a piso is, don't bother asking me. I have no bloody clue. Okay, so rolling machine. Funnily enough, this requires Minecraft jewels to be able to use it, so we can't really automate without going for a boiler, and we can't really get a boiler easily enough without automation, but we'll add the automation at a later time. Let's keep this recipe here for now. How are the discs? Our discs are getting fullified, but I think it's good enough, so we don't need to worry about that. So let's not do some automation, but let's get these pressurized, or let's do some calculations. We're going to need to get 36 of these. That will require 72 steel plates minimum. So if we have 72 steel plates, we'll need 64 plus 8. I'm just doing some calculations. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So here's all the steel that's going to be required for the plates. We'll put it on our left side. But we're going to need some other things, such as the heat. Is it the heat? I know it's the box, boiler box, which we can get here. Liquid fueled boiler box. And we're going to need even more. So that's 36 more steel, which I think we have here. So 36 more steel. And we'll put that as more stuff. But obviously, that's not everything that we need. We need some more stuff, but that's easy enough to craft anyway, so we don't need to worry about that. Finally, we're going to need our nice little industrial steam engines, which are going to be the main thing we're going to convert the steam into Minecraft Jewels. And this is going to require 3 plates each. However, we're going to need a lot of these. We are going to need a total of 18. So let's see if my mental math fails me. 36, 34, 54 more steel. Wow, this is really escalating. So 54 more steel. Let's see. Here's 54. And this is all the stuff we're going to need for just the plates. Yikes. So we can probably get that started. However, we only have 21 steel left. However, we're going to need 8 times 18. So that's 36, 72, 144 more steel. That is going to take a lot of time, so we're going to want to start crafting our steel. So for our steel, we need 144, right? That will be 2 stacks remaining extra. So we're going to need to make 2 stacks, which is going to take, actually, that's probably going to take over an hour. That is a bit of a problem, seeing as it only takes, well, that's an hour of waiting. Let's get our steel going, at least get that started, and maybe we can automate some other things while we're waiting for our steel. Let's see. This chest seems a bit full of mismatched mystery. And do we have any energy here? We might as well start our automation by showing where our energy cells will flow into and out of. So let's grab this energy cell. Easy enough thing to do. And we're not going to grab this rolling machine, unfortunately, but do we have any conduits? Yes, we do. Probably enough for now, though we will need to make some more once our steel is actually starting to work to its fullest. Let's see. Assuming it doesn't actually stall, though, because it may stall at one particular function because of having too much too much coal dust in its system. That's going to require 4 stacks of coal dust. But anyways, let's get you back so that we can see what you guys are. So let's get ourselves sorted and see where we want stuff to flow into and out of. Okay, so here we are. I accidentally interrupted the crafting by adding some cabling, because whenever you edit the structure of the ME network, it does halt all pending stuff. But anyways, so we have our simple little box that we're going to have over here. This is where our boiler is going to be. Now what I'm thinking is that we'll have some separate charging cells that'll be at the side, so all of it will go into it. We might move them later, but for now let's set this up. This is going to be our, well, all of this is pretty much energy and matter production, if you can think of it that way. So all of this stuff is going to be in relation to that, at least on this floor. So we got our rubber production, we got our energy production over there, we got some energy production there, and matter production. But here's our final energy production system that we're going to want. We're probably going to move the tree farm stuff from there, maybe add some sort of forestry tree farm, but seeing as it never rains, that may be a bit of a difficulty, but we'll see how this goes. Okay, so one thing that we're going to want to add is some cables, ME cables, and I think we'll add the ME cables to come up here. So just need to add the remainder of the cables over here, come up from that particular area. That's an easy enough thing to do. Once we get them sorted, hey, stop that. Once we get them sorted, it should be obvious what our next step is. We're going to have to get the energy, or rather the item flow, where we want it to. And where this is concerned is the steel. We want the steel to go in to our rolling machine via some ME interfaces. So we're going to continually halt the process by continually editing this, but no matter. Okay, actually we get matter. It's not a no matter thing. It's complete matter. Ha! This doesn't matter. Okay, let's get that back on. And here's our energy coming out of here, and we got this thing coming up. And I think it's probably best to have, instead of this here, maybe we can, yeah, let's put this here. So we'll have an terminal so we can get everything that we need. We may move this at a later point, but what's the point? Okay, so let's get our rolling machine done. We're going to have multiple rolling machines. Here. Okay. And then just put a bit of energy going there. Probably move this so that we don't interfere and break anything, because that would be a bad thing. So we're going to have a constant supply of Minecraft jewels going to the rolling machine, and a bit of a buffer in the conduits themselves, which I'm not too sure what the buffer amount is. I'm guessing about 1,000, but we can find that out at a later time. Okay, so now we need to do a few things. Let's see, import bus. Let's get a few import buses, and also get our other ME items, which are our interfaces. But I don't know if this will interface directly with it. That's what we have to figure out. Okay, so we need to set a recipe. Steel goes in, awesomeness comes out. So let's set the recipe first here. So we get steel plates, and we need to craft those anyways, so we have a reference to put on a blank pattern. So 4 steel plates, and we got even more steel coming along. So here we go. There we go. Maybe we should have multiples of these. That may also be a good thing to have. Oh well. So let's encode this. Don't want nuggets for some reason, and then just encode this, and whenever we want 4 steel plates, we'll get that. Let's see what's here. We're going to need more refined iron in the system. And how is our steel production going? Not good. Let's just shove a bunch of refined iron into the system. There we go. Now we'll just send at least 1 stack, maybe not the rest of it. It'll at least, all the refined iron will go into here. We won't have to worry about it. Good day, good night, folks. Good night, good evening, and all that. So we'll still get our refined stuff for pickup at a later time. Okay, so we can edit this. One of these here. Let's see, can we get this as linear as possible? What I mean by that is I want to have all of this so that it's, well, repeatable. I want to be able to have like a line of these systems. So that means if we are to do anything, this would be the best way to do it. There. Maybe have this moved over here instead. and move this thing to a bit more of a defensible location. Here. That would be good. And I don't even know I'm adding this dog leg to system, but that's not where I want you. I want you on top. There we go. Woohoo, it'll be a lot better when there's an actual floor, but oh well. So now we have that, and we have this. So just add that, and now this is interfacing. So when we put that there, we'll have all the steel and etc. So the steel will go into here. Now we have to test it. Steel plates. We'll want 4. So all the steel did go into the system. That is good. Now, there is one mechanic which I don't think we can utilize about the rolling machine. The rolling machine is able to take stuff from a chest. We could, if we wanted some more buffer room, just in case there's some idiocy with the system, get some sort of buffer room like that, but I don't think that'll be necessary. So, speaking about necessity, let's throw a bunch of refined iron into the system. We may need a bit more of the coal dust also, but that is something we'll get later. And once everything's done, we'll just clear the system. Okay, that's good, that's good, this is good. What are some other things that we can add to the rolling machine as recipes? Do we have any other rolling machines? No, all of them are there, and our production of those is going fine. Ah, yes, we can do that. Okay, so there's a few other things we can add to this, and it'll be a lot better. We need to make some mixed metal. And let's see, what's the best recipe we can make? We can use bronze, but how much do we have of that? We can also use brass. What? Zinc? Okay, now zinc is an annoying substance we might need a bit more of. How are we going to get you? Probably via dust, and that's sphalerite. Sphalerite is also useful for getting rubies, isn't it? And also sulfur. So we can get sulfur and zinc from using an industrial electrolyzer on sphalerite. That's a good plan, actually. That's a very good plan. So let me get my silk touch pick, and then we'll go to the nether, get a bit of sphalerite, since it's an easy enough thing to get, and then see if we can set up some sort of system like that. Tally-ho! Now this is a huge vein of sphalerite. Dang. Let's see the uses of the sphalerite again. We get that and a bunch of other things. Now I think there are... yes, yellow garnet dust. That is one thing that we definitely want for ourselves. Because once we get yellow garnet dust, we'll be able to work on it enough so that we can get to... Now, what does a regular pick do on this? One moment, I gotta check. And we only get dust, huh? Yellow garnet dust we can refine into chrome dust through a bunch of other processes. We'll probably actually setting up one of those chains might be worthwhile for us because this is a lot of ore and we need a lot of chrome. Maybe making a distillation tower should be our next way to get the fuel for our actual refinery. Not refinery, but our boiler, because if we have a distillation tower, we'll be able to more easily turn all of our oil using some EU production instead of Minecraft joules more efficiently, actually. But it takes a lot of chrome, and a lot of other things require a lot of chrome. So let's first get this, then we'll see what production we can do. Okay, let's get this going at a much more reasonable rate. Now, thankfully, the good thing about this sphalerite is the fact that once we get it down to the dust, we can use it in the industrial electrolyzer and get sulfur. Now, if I heard some ringing in your ears or some other contrived stuff like that, you would have noticed that sulfur is something that we also desperately need. So let's see a nice little area that we can put this in for now. If we put it here and get a direct connection, we can add it to the system. Actually, can we add it to any sort of system just by that? Hey, Teacher, leave me alone. Okay, let's see. Where can we put this? Let's actually find a place. Now, I'm thinking that probably we can throw this over here for now. And what that will do, actually here for now. And what that will do, we'll probably have different sections of energy usage in this floor. Actually, now that I think of it, this is energy production. Eventually we'll have the third floor as energy usage. And we'll probably have a whole bunch of industrial electrolyzers with different certain given tasks. But for now, this is all we can do. So, let's see. We have items go into the top. We have cells go into the bottom. But we're not going to be worried about cells with this old thing. So let's just take items out of here. I don't think any task is currently going, but I'm not going to take that risk right away. So let's wire up a bit of energy to come here, and this is the low voltage. Good. And we should have enough energy come here. These will start getting more empty as less energy is going to go to them, but that's something else entirely. Hopefully we'll have all this go up to the third floor at a later time. So, all of this fowlerite is going to need to go into our industrial electrolyzer. So, we're going to need a different floor for industrial electrolyzation because we'll probably have different things that we'll want. So, all of this fowlerite, let's make sure it's the right one. There we go. We'll want to go into here. This will probably halt a bit of production of our iron ore, but I think I can live with that. Let's take that, throw this in, and now we'll have our sphalerite getting production produced into sphalerite, and we'll also have our zinc and our nice little yellow garnet. Now we're going to need to do a few things. This sphalerite dust will then need to be processed so that it can go and get feed the beast eyes? No, that's not it. Let's throw the sphalerite dust in here, and we'll produce sulfur and zinc. This zinc we can further produce, or rather refine. I think the zinc requires just that. So the zinc we can refine right away by throwing it. Huh, that's odd. That's actually very odd. Why did that happen? Oh, we're full. And we also... Oh, that's why. Ah, yes, we're completely full. So we're going to really need our energy production soon. And probably take all that stuff out. Temporarily, I'm going to move this so that we can power the thing. How come it was hopping away? I don't think I've ever seen anything like that. That is very odd. Okay, let's pop you on there. We'll finally get some power. We'll throw our buckets back into here. Maybe throw them into here so that they can slowly get extracted. But these guys will need a bit more fuel. At least I know the follies of my mistakes. And boy, are there numerous ones at that. Sigh, don't quit your day job, Way. So we can add another thing so that we can process process the zinc dust into one of here. Or rather, I don't think I have a dedicated crafting line for that. So we're probably going to need to throw zinc dust into here and have it automatically processed. Though I see a few issues with that. One, it's annoying, and it gives a bit of a burden on our system. Two, it's really not that kosher. I'm probably using the wrong method of using the word kosher, but that's something else entirely. Let's wait for our stuff to get ready, our steel. So another tiny change I think is worth making is that we'll have this industrial electrolyzer as a dedicated production facility for all of the, well, taking all the sphalerite, since sphalerite, honestly, if we check the uses, sphalerite isn't used in any other system except for making sulfur and zinc. So we might as well make as much of that as possible by just shoving as much of the sphalerite into here as possible and just having it continuously work its magic. and it'll take a while for it to get up to that point of 64, but eventually if we leave this long enough, it should get everything that we need. Now, this thing will be enough for 4 industrial electrolyzers before we need to put in another transformer. So getting it from the storage cells up here should be an easy enough thing to do. Now hopefully we can get some more energy, or probably network it so that the nuclear reactor over there is networking into the storage cells, and then from the storage cells we can get better storage. Yeah, better storage. Yes, let's go with that. Okay, so our steel is almost done. I think we'll be very close to getting the 144. Just going to need a bit more. Then we can probably work on that next time. Sorry, bunny. This probably turns away so many animal lovers. Unfortunately, we don't really have enough time to make a boiler for this episode, so what I'm actually making is getting the mixed metal ingot recipe ready for production. So all we're going to need is a bit more of this. Let's get 3 of those. I said 3. And we're going to need some more nickel. And thankfully we have a large influx of both nickel, and we also got tin, but we also have our zinc. At least a lot of our zinc in production, and a lot of the dust. And what I did was I also put the dust as one of the, well, dust to ingot, let's just say. I didn't put it as an automatic recipe, but it should be strong enough. So let's throw this down. There should be enough energy to get it. Okay, good. We're going to need to get that energy cell back here. Probably charge up the, actually we should charge up that other energy cell here. Bring it back to the base, put on all of those cells. At least that'll be a good startup. There we go. Okay, at least that'll be a good way. What the heck is with all these? Okay, I need to get some MFS going, or else this is going to drive me crazy with squirrels everywhere, and I got too much to make another base anyway. So let's see. 3 of these, 3 of these, as well as 3 of these. We'll make 3 of these. And just throwing that in. And I do realize that I will need to rework all this stuff on the transition to 1.5, though I'm not too sure if there will be a transition to 1.5 in my foreseeable future with this. So let's set that up. And now the only thing that we're going to need to get is one of those ME interfaces again. So we have to craft that, and wait. Oh, I thought it was fast for some reason. I have no idea. Emerald dust? How the heck did we get emerald dust? I don't even know. Okay, there it is. Let's throw this on. Throw the disc in it. Here we go. And now we'll be able to make mixed metal ingots as we please. And there's one final recipe that we're going to need to throw in as a compressor recipe. We don't have it yet, but that will be easily solvable just by getting this all formatted. We'll be able to make our alloy. So, and I already had a lot of alloy, so it would have been an easy enough procedure to do. So mixed metal makes alloy when we send it to the compressor. And speaking of which, let's just throw this in, go back here, go to our compressor, which is this one, and we'll just throw this in. Now we'll be able to make every single stage of our advanced machine blocks without having to manually make it, which will be a lot easier. So this is going very strongly, and I think the next step after we get our boiler going, because that should be a priority, will be to set up our processing of all the sulfur. Maybe can all the sulfur, because there are a lot of uses for the sulfur once we get it. Let's just check some of the uses. We can make sulfuric acid, which then can be percolated through. We can also make some gunpowder, but we'll probably look at this stuff at a much later time. Well, That's all the time we have for this episode of EEPower. If you like what you see, don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe to future episodes. Way of Time here, signing off. Dang it, wrong book again. Have a wonderful day.